Welcome to Civics Vanguard. In today's video, we'll explore the fascinating and complex causes of World War I. World War I didn't just happen out of nowhere, it was the result of decades of tension building up. A big spark came on June 28, 1914, when Archduke Franz Ferdinand, heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, was assassinated in Sarajevo. This event set off a chain reaction. Austria-Hungary declared war on Serbia, and soon, major European powers were involved. One of the key factors leading to World War I was nationalism. Countries were deeply invested in their own identity and power, and many ethnic groups wanted independence. For example, Slavic nationalism in the Balkans was a huge problem, with Serbia wanting to unite all Slavs, including those living in Austria-Hungary. This created a lot of tension, especially when the assassination of Archduke Ferdinand by a Bosnian Serb nationalist happened. Another major cause of World War I was imperialism. European powers were competing for colonies around the world, especially in Africa and Asia. Countries like Britain, France, and Germany wanted to expand their empires, which led to conflicts over territories. In 1914, Germany was a rising power and felt it needed more land to compete with Britain and France. This competition created mistrust and rivalry between the major European powers. Next up, we have the alliance system, which played a huge role in dragging countries into World War I. By the early 20th century, Europe was split into two main alliance blocs, the Triple Entente, France, Russia, and Britain, and the Triple Alliance, Germany, Austria-Hungary, and Italy. These alliances were meant to provide security, but instead, they created a situation where any small conflict could quickly involve multiple countries. Another key factor was militarism, or the belief that having a strong military was essential to national power. In the years leading up to World War I, European countries were in an arms race, constantly building up their armies and navies. Germany, in particular, was investing heavily in its military, and by 1914, it had one of the most powerful armies in the world. This militaristic mindset made war seem like a natural solution to international problems. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand on June 28, 1914, was the immediate trigger for World War I. Ferdinand, heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, was killed in Sarajevo by Gavrilo Princip, a member of a Serbian nationalist group. Austria-Hungary, backed by Germany, saw this as an act of war and issued an ultimatum to Serbia. Serbia's response wasn't enough to satisfy Austria-Hungary, so they declared war. Following the assassination, Austria-Hungary's ultimatum to Serbia played a crucial role in escalating the situation. Austria-Hungary wanted to make sure that Serbia would not threaten its empire again, so they sent an extremely harsh ultimatum. The demands were so severe that Serbia could not fully accept them without losing its sovereignty. Although Serbia agreed to most of the conditions, Austria-Hungary declared war on Serbia on July 28, 1914. After Austria-Hungary declared war on Serbia, Russia mobilized its forces in support of Serbia, as Russia had a close Slavic alliance with them. This move was seen as a direct threat by Germany, who saw Russia's large army as a potential danger. Germany had promised Austria-Hungary unconditional support in the conflict, and so, in response, Germany declared war on Russia on August 1, 1914. This decision set off a domino effect. France, allied with Russia, was soon drawn in, and Germany invaded Belgium to attack France, bringing Britain into the war as well. Germany's support for Austria-Hungary was crucial, as they issued a blank check to their ally. This meant Germany promised unconditional backing, no matter what actions Austria-Hungary took in response to the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand. Germany believed that a quick war would solidify its power in Europe, but they underestimated the scale of the conflict. Germany's Schlieffen Plan was another key factor in the rapid escalation of World War I. This was Germany's strategy to avoid a two-front war. They planned to quickly defeat France in the west by invading through Belgium, then shift their forces to fight Russia in the east. The plan relied on the assumption that France would be weak and easy to conquer, but it underestimated the resistance they would face. When Germany invaded Belgium on August 4, 1914, it violated Belgium's neutrality. France played a significant role in the build-up to World War I, driven by both historical tensions and alliances. France, still smarting from its defeat in the Franco-Prussian War of 1870–71, was determined to regain the provinces of Alsace and Lorraine, lost to Germany. This long-standing desire for revenge, combined with France's alliance with Russia, made them eager to support Russia against Germany and Austria-Hungary. The Balkans were a powder keg waiting to explode, and the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand lit the fuse. The region was full of ethnic tensions, with many Slavic people wanting independence from Austria-Hungary and the Ottoman Empire. Serbia, in particular, had ambitions to unite all Slavs in the area, which made Austria-Hungary nervous. This created constant friction, and the Balkans were often referred to as the powder keg of Europe. Britain's involvement in World War I was heavily influenced by its desire to maintain the balance of power in Europe. For years, Britain had followed a policy of splendid isolation, avoiding entanglements in continental conflicts. However, the growing power of Germany, particularly its navy, threatened Britain's position as the dominant naval force in the world. When Germany invaded Belgium, a neutral country, Britain felt compelled to act in defense of Belgium and uphold its own security. Once the war began, the domino effect of alliances and mobilizations quickly escalated the conflict into a global war. What started as a localized issue between Austria-Hungary and Serbia quickly pulled in Russia, Germany, France, Britain, and eventually more countries. The alliance system meant that once one country was at war, its allies were bound to join in, turning a regional conflict into a world war. When the war officially broke out in August 1914, the early days of the war were marked by rapid mobilization and intense fighting. Germany's plan to quickly defeat France failed, and both sides became locked in trench warfare, especially on the Western Front. The initial hopes for a quick victory faded as the reality of a long, brutal war set in. On the Eastern Front, Russia fought against Germany and Austria-Hungary, but logistical challenges and internal issues weakened their efforts. The impact of World War I was global, reshaping nations, economies, and societies. The war not only caused unprecedented casualties, over 16 million people died, but also led to the collapse of empires like Austria-Hungary, the Ottoman Empire, and Russia. New countries were formed, and borders were redrawn. Economies were shattered, and entire generations were affected by the war's trauma. In conclusion, the causes of World War I were complex and intertwined. Nationalism, imperialism, militarism, and the alliance system all created a volatile mix, while the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand acted as the spark that ignited the conflict. The war was driven by long-standing tensions between European powers, and once it started, it escalated rapidly due to the chain reaction of alliances and mobilizations. The legacy of World War I is still felt today in many ways. The war set the stage for major political changes, including the Russian Revolution, the rise of fascism, and the eventual outbreak of World War II. The Treaty of Versailles, which ended the war, imposed harsh reparations on Germany, contributing to economic hardship and political instability, which fueled the rise of Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party. Finally, the human cost of World War I cannot be overstated. Millions of soldiers and civilians lost their lives, and countless others were left physically and emotionally scarred. The war created a generation of survivors dealing with trauma, both from the horrors of battle and the destruction of entire cities. The aftermath also led to significant changes in society, as women entered the workforce in unprecedented numbers while men went off to fight. The political consequences of World War I were profound and far-reaching. The collapse of empires, like the Austro-Hungarian, Ottoman, Russian, and German empires, led to the creation of new nations and a complete shift in the balance of power. The map of Europe was redrawn, with former imperial territories gaining independence or being divided among the victorious powers. In conclusion, World War I was the result of a mix of long-standing tensions, powerful alliances, and aggressive national policies. What began with the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand turned into a devastating global conflict, forever altering the course of history.